President Trump signing an executive order cracking down on fentanyl and toughening prison sentences for the traffickers of the drug. Watch.
With this bill, we are officially and permanently classifying all fentanyl-related substances as Schedule I narcotics, which is actually a very big deal. Meaning anyone caught trafficking these illicit poisons will be punished with a mandatory 10-year minimum sentence in prison. We'll be getting the drug dealers, pushers, and peddlers off our street, and we will not rest until we have ended the drug overdose epidemic.
Joining me now is White House Senior Counsel for Trade and Manufacturing, Peter Navarro. Peter, great to see you. Thank you so much for being here. How do you expect fentanyl and this toughening stance, which President Trump has been tough on since day one, by the way, but how does that play a role in these trade deals that the president is going to be announcing?
Well, Murray, first of all, I was at that event yesterday, and it was heartbreaking to see the people on stage who had lost loved ones to fentanyl. This has been going on far too long. With respect to the trade deals, we do have a 20% tariff on China. We're collecting billions of dollars from China. As you know, Maria, China has been absolutely obstinate about stopping the fentanyl flow. And here's why that bill was so important. You get in the weeds a little bit. What China did way back in the first term with Donald Trump, when they promised to help us with fentanyl, is they banned a certain type of fentanyl. But what their chemists do is they alter the molecular structure in ways that therefore it's not classified as fentanyl under their laws or ours. And it's a cat and mouse kind of game that's been going on for years, as close to 1 million Americans have been killed directly or indirectly from fentanyl. So this HALT Fentanyl Act is really, really important. It's going to, I think, to put a strong dent in the flow, but ultimately China has to get the message at some point that they just got to stop shipping the 50-gallon drums of the chemicals that kill Americans.
Yeah, and we're still wondering what this means for trade with China, Peter. And I keep asking the question, how do you negotiate with somebody on the other side of the deal that you know has been a bad actor, right? Who's been, you know, sending fentanyl, COVID, stealing intellectual property. The list is long in terms of communist China undermining the United States. Scott Bessent the other day, the Treasury Secretary, said that the deadline in August for the temporary tariffs on China is loose, and maybe, it will go beyond. Because first the president was at 145% tariff. He moved it down. He gave them some time to come up with a deal. What are your expectations, not to get ahead of the boss? I know you don't want to get ahead of President Trump in terms of what he's going to do with that deadline on China, but what do you think a good deal would be for the U.S. China trade situation? I don't know how President Trump does a deal with a bad actor the way he's doing it, but he's walking this balance, and he knows who China is, and he knows what they've been doing in terms of undermining America. What would you like to see, your best case scenario, in a trade deal with China?
Well, I do not want to get ahead of the boss, and he does have a very good relationship with Xi Jinping. I've seen him interact both physically in real time and at places we went around the world, as well as on phone calls. And they do have an unusually warm relationship. The problems we face, as you know, Maria, no one knows this better on television than you do. It's the intellectual property theft, it's the dumping, the subsidies, the fentanyl, and just a whole range of things. The good news is we've got tariffs now that are effectively over 50% on communist China, and that's a good thing. We're raising billions upon billions upon billions. There's just a lot of moving parts in this, and I let the boss do the negotiating on it. I think the bigger news, and I've said this often, is that the problem we face on trade is not just with China, it's with the world. I don't know how much you've talked about that Indonesia deal, but it's kind of the microcosm of the macrocosm where the boss wants to go. Indonesia is, a lot of people don't know this in America, but it's like the 4th largest country in the world. It's a big deal, but it sells us 3 times as much as we sell to them. And historically, they haven't bought our energy, they don't buy our ag products, they don't buy our technology. And President Trump, this deal is a beautiful thing for Americans. We're going to maintain a 19% tariff on Indonesia. They're not going to tariff anything. They're going to lower our non-tariff barriers. And if China uses Indonesia as a transshipment point to evade our tariffs, we'll be able to impose a higher tariff on them as well to stop the transshipment. So that is the kind of deal that Jamieson Greer and Howard Lutnick and Scott Bessent are negotiating with 100 different countries. And I think we're in a really good place on trade right now. We've raised $100 billion for the American people in just 6 months. And the tariffs haven't kicked in full force yet, even. So that's kind of the chessboard, and it's just a lot of moving parts, and China is just one of them.
I like it. I like it a lot. I love that you just went through the Indonesia deal. The fact that we are taxing them 19% on what they're sending into America, and we're not getting taxed on anything. There are no tariffs on U.S. products going into Indonesia is great. Once again, America first. The president is planning to place tariffs of at least 10% on more than 150 smaller countries, including nations in Africa and the Caribbean. The president also announced the 30% tariffs on the EU and Mexico beginning August 1st. And the EU's trade chief was in Washington speaking with Howard Lutnick and Jamieson Greer. Peter, are there things that are most important with regard to the European Union that you can talk to us about? What would be the best case scenario there? Because a lot of people want to see a big deal with the EU. I mean, obviously, there are so many countries within that. It looks like Italy wants to do something quickly. It looks like a number of other countries do. But you've got to have agreement with the whole bloc, right?
Yes, and let me put, again, this in context. With the template that Jamieson Greer, the USTR, has is what's called a series of verticals, where we look at each country, or in this case, a block of countries with the EU, and each country that we're dealing with is like fingerprints. They all differ in different ways. So if you look at the EU, you start with the tariffs. For example, four times higher on autos. So Germany sends us 7 cars for every one we send them. That's got to stop. That's an easy lift. That's an easy lift. The non-tariff barriers are the ones where, as a bloc, it's going to be very difficult for the EU to deal with. And then, of course, they have the VAT tax, which adds 19%, I think, to the effective tariff. The VAT tax is not just an additional tariff on America. It's also an export subsidy, the way it works under the rules of the World Trade Organization. So it's a difficult negotiation because they cheat us so badly. Remember, that deficit with Europe is huge. And what's interesting to Maria, is that China has a surplus with Europe, which is about equal to our deficit with Europe. So a lot of things are coming in from China, and Europe essentially is a transshipment point for goods here. So it's a very complex one. I would just urge the Europeans to work with us, acknowledge the unfairness of this, and don't go down the retaliatory rat hole, because that will end badly for Europe. So this is why this one's important, why you're flagging it here. It's one of our biggest trading partners, and we have all sorts of other things going on from NATO on down. But we'd like to see VAT tax relief. We'd like to see lower tariffs. We'd like to see an end. One other thing, Maria, this just boggles your mind. It's like we've won cases at the WTO against Europe with respect to our agricultural imports, pork and beef. They don't respect it. Europe did not abide by those rulings by the World Trade. I mean, that boggles the mind, really.
Peter,
so tough negotiations.
We got to jump, but real quick, Peter, how many more deals would you expect on trade in the coming month?
Well, look, I want to make this really clear. We've got a bunch of deals right now, but a lot of them are unilateral because we had to send letters to people. And the problem, Maria, is they have such a good deal screwing America, let me be blunt about it, that they're reluctant. But we've got over 90% of the trade deficit covered with letters or deals right now. We're in a good place. Trust in Trump. He's going to get it done, and the American people are going to have trillions of dollars in tax cuts and debt reduction because of that. Let's never lose sight of the fact of that.
Well, we just had a budget surplus for the month of June, so there's that, thanks to tariff revenue. Peter, good to see you. Thanks so much.